With the Deshaun Watson story involving two new accusers in the last week or so, how do you think this is going to affect Watson's tenure, not only with the Cleveland Browns? How do you think this is going to affect his stature in the NFL?
I mean, I'm no lawyer, I'm no NFL GM or legal expert, but I know that more people coming out after he beat 22 don't look good. I know for a fact that the rumors of circulation of even the possibility of avoided fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun Watson's is not a good look. And I know that Deshaun Watson is sitting there like, damn, I thought this was over. I just More and more news and statistics continue to come out. Apparently, Deshaun Watson had 66 massages in a 17-month span during this time. I'm not sitting here and say that you don't deserve a massage. You're a football player. You do a lot of physically grueling and very physical activities as a pro athlete. You have physical trainers, you have massage therapists that are to the team, you have athletic trainers. I mean, if you really wanted a massage, you could have easily gotten it with the resources that are available to you as an NFL superstar like Deshaun is. But for you to have 66 massages, it just looks weird. Is all I'm going to say. He's not guilty. Again, I'm not working in the justice system and I'm not a lawyer, but it just two more of these cases coming out of the blue, and now the rumors of the void possibly happening. Not that they're going to do it, but if anybody thought Deshaun could have played come week one, it's definitely out the window now. Um, it just it's a difficult topic to talk about, man. It's really really hard. I mean, again, I'm not necessarily an expert in any case to try to be articulating what it is that I think could happen, but for the fact that two more cases have surfaced just as this was kind of coming to a close. OTAs were starting, and the season's 3 months away. Dude, Kyle, it's really hard to articulate, man. It's hard for me to fathom words just because, again, I'm pretty sure, like you did, I thought this was over. I thought that he was able to get his life back, maybe serve some form of a suspension from the commissioner's office just because of, everything that had transpired over the course of last year. But when you look at it from this perspective, now you're like, well, this could have just went from really bad to just absolutely horrid for him and his career because if, and I will just say if this contract is voided, I truly believe Deshaun Watson will be on that list of players that never play again.
It really kind of depends on how you look at this because, the way that I see it is these are all civil lawsuits. Because when you look back at the entire timeline of how this whole lawsuit kind of came to be, even though that 22 women came forward initially and made their cases about sexual misconduct from Deshaun Watson, you had two grand juries in Texas both say that they were not going to pursue criminal charges against Deshaun Watson. That was despite the fact they had really a lot of evidence and a lot of testimony to work with based on the accounts of the women that allegedly were sexually abused or sexually assaulted by Deshaun. So now when you have you have two women coming forward within the last week or so saying essentially the same thing as the previous 22 did. It just brings this story back into focus. And the way that I see it is if you're looking at this from an NFL perspective, I think that a suspension is imminent. Now, I don't know how long it's going to be because I think initially some people were saying that this could be like a 4 week suspension, maybe a 6 to 8 week suspension. I might be getting to the mindset that we might be looking at a year long suspension for Deshaun. And granted, nothing of this has been, you know, proven in court. Like he is directly guilty as far as like, he was facing some sort of criminal charges and he was convicted on that. That's not the case. This is all civil related. But the fact that there are still women coming out and saying that he did this or that he supposedly did the things that he did, it's very disconcerting for not only Deshaun, for the Browns, because the Browns have so much money tied into him for the next 5 years. And to give him the contract that they did, and the Browns are going all in on him. The Browns saw an opportunity when they traded for him and are taking full advantage of it. And to kind of focus on the point where you made about the voided contract element, I don't think the Browns are going to do that. I think the Browns knew good and well that there's a very good chance that Deshaun was going to be suspended in some sort of capacity related to these civil cases that he's been going through for pretty much the last year or so. So I think they kind of baked that into the cake already. So if it was, 4 to 8 games, they could live with that. If it was a year, they might just roll with the punches on that one. I would find it utterly shocking if the Browns went out of their way to try to prove that these two new cases that have popped up with new accusers against Deshaun Watson as a reason to void the contract entirely. And then it kind of goes down to the question, actually kind of brings up multiple questions. Well, first of all, would they bring it up in the first place? And second of all, would they actually be able to win that type of argument? And I'm not really convinced that they could. You could make an argument for it, but I don't think it's a winning one. So I'm of the mindset that Deshaun Watson is going to be the future quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. It may not be this upcoming season because I think he is going to be suspended. I think it's just really the degree of the suspension. I think that the NFL could possibly be looking at a year-long suspension for Deshaun. But I guess we'll just see what happens when it comes to the women that brought these new allegations against Deshaun. I mean, it's up to 24 women in total now. So we'll see what happens. But I think if we look at Deshaun, I'm not going to go as far to say like his like days in Cleveland are numbered to the point where that the Browns are going to offload him just based off of what's been going on the last week or so. I'm more of the mindset that the Browns are just going to roll with the punches for Deshaun until this whole thing gets cleared up. And then he's going to be their future quarterback after that. But I think they're going to have to take a year-long suspension with. I think that's where this is going. I just, I would find it very hard to believe that the NFL doesn't suspend him in some sort of capacity because I think just the image that this story presents, you could totally go with a personal conduct violation just based off of this. And it really just kind of depends on what sort of degree you want to set it at. You got 24 women. Granted, he's not guilty. So I mean, I can't, I still have to kind of say that, you're innocent until proven guilty. But it's not a good look. And I'm just going to kind of leave it at that.